In contemporary royal history, King Charles just executed what may be the most subtly dramatic power move, and very few people witnessed it. There were no cameras, no press release, no formal announcement. Just a private meeting in an old room someplace in Britain, a second crown put next to the throne, and a decision that apparently caused everyone in the room to fall silent. Because it seems that Charles's actions went beyond succession. It was about deciding who is currently in charge of the monarchy.
Champion sustainability,
Furthermore,
both
William was
gracing the
not
red
the guy he
carpet in
selected.
outfits they've
Catherine
worn
was the
before.
one.
This
If
year,
you're new
BAFTA
here,
encouraged
we break down royal news as it happens on Crown Watch before we get into the specifics. To ensure you don't miss the next update, click subscribe as soon as possible. It really benefits the channel and only takes around 2 seconds. Let's discuss what is said to have occurred. According to the stories, this was a quiet meeting in one of the historic rooms in Britain. To be honest, the first thing that makes this feel unusual is the mystery surrounding it. Broadcasters were not notified, no advance notice was given to any tabloids. Following the incident, the palace did not issue a comment. They didn't even reveal the day or time. The modern monarchy typically does not function that way. A press advisory is typically sent out weeks in advance for even the smallest engagement. Charles wanted this to be personal rather than performative, as evidenced by the fact that it occurred without any of that. Senior royals, constitutional advisors, and palace officials who had served for decades were apparently asked to attend,
yet she felt
but
none of the
them
joy that
realized
such
what they were
trust
getting
should have
themselves
brought.
into.
Catherine looked
There
at
were
the
no
prince
reporters or
and
news
admitted that the
cameras waiting
document felt
outside
like
as
another
Catherine
woman's
discreetly
humiliation.
arrived.
Placed
She was said to exude the same poise for which she has gained recognition, the kind where it's hard to tell if she's nervous or totally composed. However, when Charles entered, the entire atmosphere changed, according
placed
to those
directly
there.
into her hands.
They likened it
William
to the
told her the
quiet before
decision
a
belonged to his
downpour,
father.
that overwhelming sense that something important is going to happen, but you're not sure what. For what seemed like a long time, Charles stood at the head of the room. There was no movement. No one took a breath. Then he turned, gave Catherine a direct glance, and stepped in her direction. This is where things start to get weird. A second crown was positioned beside the throne. That is not typical. Crowns are more than just ornamental objects. They are emblems with particular constitutional significance. Furthermore, this was not a part of a pre-approved ritual, because no one in the room, not even the senior royals, palace employees, or constitutional experts, could explain why it was there.
While William formally
Charles was
supported
purposefully
Catherine's
deviating from the
custodianship,
norm.
the Princess Royal
He got up
confirmed
slowly,
every document.
and according to
naive.
several
This
accounts,
is what
he
we
was
would call a
moving more slowly
placating
than anyone
verdict.
had ever seen
And
him.
it is also a window
That
into a
particular
bigger
element is significant
Ending every
because it
institutional
implies that
dispute
this was
without
not an
resistance or
impulsive,
appeal.
enthusiastic
Charles is
gesture.
dying.
This was intentional. He was fully aware of what he was doing, and he did it slowly.
His wife
He grabbed the crown, turned to face Catherine, and permanently rested it on her shoulders. The expression being used is not placing it on her head like a coronation, but putting it on her shoulders. Symbolic language for delegating authority, responsibility, and weight. The room fell silent. Not silence, not gasps, not cheers, because everyone present was aware that they had simply seen something that shouldn't have happened in that room on that particular day. Let me examine the context before anyone claims that this is only dramatic storytelling. In February 2024, Charles made his cancer diagnosis public. It was confirmed by Buckingham Palace to be an unknown type of cancer. In order to receive treatment, he took a break from public duties in the early months of that year. However, he continued to labor behind the scenes, signing documents, attending briefings, and performing the unreported constitutional job. He then released a video statement for the Stand Up to Cancer campaign on Channel 4 in December 2025, speaking candidly as a cancer survivor. He stated that he was entering what his medical staff referred to as a cautious phase of his treatment. He referred to it as an important turning point. Then, in that video, he paused for a few long seconds. At the time, many were aware of the stop.
Let Catherine lead with mercy.
Words carefully,
By evening,
as if he had
that
more
single
to say,
message appeared
but was
across
unable to.
broadcasts as the
picture
clearest
becomes
symbol
more
of public
evident when you
feeling.
mix this
The
private
country wanted
ceremony with
change,
that health
but it also
timeline.
wanted restraint.
Charles is not
and
resigning.
acted before the
He
palace could
continues to
turn
have a busy
private
schedule,
pain into
attend engagements, and meet with leaders of state. However, he also understands that he has a limited amount of time to take action. Not in the dramatic sense that the end is imminent, but more in the pragmatic sense that every monarch must ultimately consider what they are constructing. Additionally, it seems that Charles has determined that openly or semi-publicly confirming Catherine as the monarchy's emotional leader
and the
is
phrase
the most
was
crucial
repeated
thing
within
he can
minutes.
do at this time.
The queen consort did
Everyone
not
is
respond with
overlooking this
anger.
crucial distinction.
She removed the
There has been no
complete
change
silence
in the
with
legal
recognition,
succession.
as
The
though
heir
one
is still
buried
William.
conflict
Second
had
in line
finally
is still
returned
Prince
to
George.
demand its price.
No laws were changed.
But before that
there was
door
no
could
revision
close
to the
behind
Constitution.
Catherine, the
But
personal
laws are not
wounds
the
carried
source
by
of the
William,
monarchy's authority.
Camilla,
It stems from connection, visibility, and whether or not the public genuinely feels that the organization speaks for them.
Charles,
And no one
the
else in
future
the family
queen
has
Alice
been able to
briefed folder
duplicate
from
what
beside
Catherine
her
has been
chair,
doing there.
handed it to
Let's
her
discuss
aide,
Catherine's
and asked
experiences,
that every
since they
remaining
provide a
public
clear
emblem
explanation for
representing
Charles's
her royal
actions.
rank,
In
and
March
placed it inside a
2024, she
velvet
revealed
case.
that she had been
The lid
diagnosed with
closed.
cancer. She announced to the world that she was receiving preventive chemotherapy while sitting in a Windsor
lid
garden
closed
in a
with a
plain
click.
striped
That
shirt.
sound carried
Just
more force than the
straightforward,
decree,
sincere
because
communication,
it proved
no screenplay or polished staging. And almost immediately, the public's reaction changed.
because it
This
proved
person
the
had been well
punishment had
known for
already
15
begun.
years,
Camilla
someone who
rose
had been
slowly
closely
and looked
examined for
directly
every
off
little
the
feature,
television
including her
and told
smile,
Anne that
posture,
punishment
and
had never
attire.
been the purpose.
The tabloids
According to a
abruptly
recorded
stopped
conversation
publishing. Not
preserved
quite,
by the
but
household
clearly.
secretary.
The comments section became softer. Suddenly, people who had
Secretary.
never given a
He
damn
said
about the
private
royal family
loyalty had
were
begun
concerned
to
about her,
endanger public
not
duty.
because she was a
The
princess,
princess
but
understood
rather
the
because she was a
decision.
mother of 3 small children who had to deal with the same horrifying diagnosis that millions of
Misunderstood
families
the
face.
distinction.
In
Yet she
September
also saw how
2024,
deeply
her
the words
chemotherapy
wounded
was
him.
completed. Her comeback to public life was slow, meticulously planned, and concentrated on important
Wounded
occasions rather than
The
merely
story
packing a
became
calendar.
real on every
She subsequently declared herself to be in remission in January 2026. 2 very important
had
words.
held the monarchy
Not
together
just
for
Britain
years.
was relieved.
Catherine
Because
had been
fans
elevated.
had witnessed her vanish, struggle, heal, then return. It was worldwide. And the monarchy benefited from that arc in a way that no amount of conventional royal labor could match. It gave her a sense of humanity that was authentic and
elevated.
unmanufactured.
Camilla had been
One
erased,
instance from
and
early
Charles had become the
2026 is
man
frequently
forced to
discussed
choose.
on the
He was
internet.
fighting
A
desperately
10-year-old
to
girl
control
named
with fear
Adrian
and hope.
asked Catherine
Something
whether
that
she
might
was
have
the
been
queen
desperate
while she was
prayer
visiting
that someone
Evanina
would
London
find her.
Children's
Then
Hospital.
It's clear that the couple
Instead
had
of
tons
correcting
of
the
fun learning
child
this
with a formal
unexpected
explanation,
new skill,
Catherine
even if they
paused,
looked and
grinned,
felt a
and
little.
responded in a kind and compassionate manner.
Almost imperceptible,
Because the
but
girl
there.
wasn't
Catherine's
perplexed
hands.
by the succession
She
plan,
asked for
the
only one
moment went
assurance,
viral and
that
revealed
Charles
more
is
about her
prepared
public image
before
than any
crisis
official
made
title could.
preparation impossible.
Something was
Charles
familiar
sat
to her.
alone with the
She assumed
authorization
that
papers.
Catherine was in command when she saw her. That's the important individual. And it appears that Charles has
Authorization
made the
paper
decision
before
to
the meeting.
formalize exactly
He read
that.
the prince's recommendation.
If you are familiar with the
removed
British
his
system,
glasses.
the constitutional
Catherine
aspect
promised
of
to
this is
protect
actually
what belonged
fascinating.
to private grief.
There are multiple
The pretty one
documents that
beyond
make
that
up the
room
UK
still had to
Constitution.
listen.
It is a
Catherine
compilation
opened the
of
folder
laws,
and found
court
correspondence,
rulings,
papers,
traditions, and
inherited
centuries of
properties,
accumulated knowledge.
confidential family
Because of its
arrangements on
adaptability,
palace
the
property.
monarchy can
His
change
future
without
reign
altering
would
the legal
depend
system.
on Catherine knowing how
Therefore,
to
Charles was
respond
not changing
during
the
national
succession when he
emergencies,
allegedly promoted
sudden
Catherine at
changes
this
of
private
leadership,
event.
and
Perhaps
moments
what he
when
was
the
doing
crown
was more
values
potent.
guiding the
He
household
was
after
changing the
his death.
public's opinion
It was
of the
extraordinary
institution's
written
leadership.
months before the
And
Commonwealth
that
service.
perception is
The
crucial
letters showed
in a
that
society
Charles
where the monarch's authority is derived from emotional connection and visibility. Queen Elizabeth was
Transfer of
fully
duties
aware of
and
this.
authority from
She had
one
no
reign to
authority
the
over
next.
Parliament.
But she
People
had
couldn't
never been
picture the
told that
nation without
everyone
her because she was such a constant and reliable symbol. The monarchy lost that anchor when she passed away at
that every
Balmoral
one of
in
Camilla's
September
titles would be
2022.
removed.
The
Her
organization
shock had
has
been
been
real.
looking for a way
So
to
had her
close
guilt.
that gap ever
Camilla
since.
lowered her voice and
Charles
admitted
inherited
losing
that issue.
precedence had
Additionally,
never been her
he
William
inherited a
followed her,
health situation
expecting
that
relief,
compelled him to
but she
consider
looked
legacy
deeply
earlier
unsettled.
than he likely
She told the
anticipated.
prince that inheriting power
Additionally,
through another
the
woman's
pattern
fall
is evident when
felt
you
less
examine
like
the approval
victory than a
ratings
warning.
from 2024
Catherine
and
understood that
2025.
royal favor could elevate
Charles is
someone
well
quickly,
liked.
but the
Camilla
same
has been
system
accepted.
could remove everything
Catherine
just
is
as
adored,
fast.
but
Anne
William
inspected
is
the
trusted,
transferred ark.
and that's a whole other matter.
There is more to the Kate effect than merely fashion selling. It has to do with influence. It has to do with the fact that people pay attention when she speaks. Crowds gather when she appears. The public did more than just provide sympathy throughout her health problem. They had a personal stake in her healing. The monarchy hasn't had a relationship like that since Diana. Additionally, it is based on an alternative. Being an outsider in the institution and disobedience were two aspects of Diana's connection. Resilience is at the heart of Catherine's relationship. She is a part of the system. It has put her to the test. She overcame a horrible experience and emerged stronger. Not only do people respect her, they also have faith in her. According to sources, in 2026, Catherine became the first Princess of Wales to issue royal warrants in 116 years. That's a big power that hadn't been used since Queen Mary's reign.
In essence, royal warrants are formal endorsements of British companies and sectors. They are very important economically. The palace's perception of Catherine's function is demonstrated by the fact that she was assigned this duty before she was even crowned queen. She's not holding out. She already plays a key role in the organization. In the months preceding this private ceremony, Charles and William had a number of conversations with key constitutional advisors, according to sources close to the palace. These discussions took place at Buckingham Palace and Highgrove. Furthermore, same sources claim that they had nothing to do with medical succession planning. These issues are always dealt with independently. The public's assessment of the monarchy's future was the topic of these talks. Additionally, Catherine's name kept coming up, not because anyone was doubting William's eventual significance, but rather because they realized Catherine had something unique to offer. She is personable in a way that the organization really needs at the moment. Additionally, the palace has been cautious about Catherine's growing influence. Her status as the Irish Guards colonel was emphasized. In 2026, she oversaw the St. Patrick's Day celebration at Mons Barracks in Aldershot, exhibiting affection and familiarity with the event. These appearances are not coincidental. They are intentional steps in a more comprehensive plan. To be honest, the most intriguing aspect of this ceremony was that it was private.
Every engagement, title, and obligation had been building toward the day when Charles could point to her and declare,
the king had
"This is the
silently
person who will
protected
carry
for
the
years.
monarchy's relevance
Every
into
royal
the future."
collapse begins with a moment
Charles
that
would have
appears
openly changed the Constitution with all the customary fanfare if he had wished to. There would have
He
been
left.
official routes
He
if he
summoned
wanted
William
to
and
communicate
Catherine
with
to
the
the
government.
library.
However,
Yet the greatest
he selected
surprise
a
would
small
not be
group,
the declaration
a quiet
itself.
area, and a
It would
private
be the
act.
name of the royal
That's not
chosen
how
to
laws are
enforce
changed.
it.
That's how
Camilla
narratives
walked
are
out.
altered. He was telling the people in that room, those who will counsel William and Catherine for
And
decades
leadership
to
would
come,
pass into
that
the next
Catherine
reign.
is the face of the
William
monarchy's
carried
future.
growing influence
It has
because
an
he was
almost
the direct
antiquated
heir.
quality.
But only
In
the king
actuality,
could give the
the
decision
monarchy has
official
always
force.
made its most
Charles
significant
looked at
choices
his
behind
son.
closed doors, only disclosing them when the moment is appropriate. That idea served as the foundation
Looked at
for
his
Queen
son
Elizabeth's reign.
and asked whether
She
there was
realized
truly
that the
no
institution's
gentler way.
strength derived
The
from
question
careful
carried more than
administration
cons-
and consistency
Yes,
rather than from bold public declarations. Charles appears to be acting on the same intuition in this instance. He's not putting on a show. He is speaking to the important people and allowing his message to spread
Rebuilding
throughout
her
the palace's
confidence.
channels of
Charles did
communication.
not defend himself immediately.
Britain's response has been
Then the monarch
characterized
admitted
as
that
consistent.
vulnerability was
Silence
exactly
at first,
why he had
then
chosen
relief.
her.
Because
Catherine
this
understood
validates
what
a
it meant to
feeling
be
that many
on
people
matters
already
affecting
had.
the continuity
For
of the
years,
crown.
Catherine has
The
served as the
long-term
emotional
stability
hub
linking
of the
one.
monarchy.
When people want to feel good about the institution, they turn to her. She has the ability to walk around a room and give people the impression that everything will be all right. You cannot teach that skill. You can't make it with effective PR. Either it exists or it doesn't. And that was demonstrated by Catherine's health journey. She didn't try to hide her illness when she made it public. She didn't try to win people over with it. She took a step back to concentrate on her family and just revealed the truth. People trusted her when she claimed to be in remission because of this.
Catherine
They
entered the
rejoiced when she
vacated
came
office
back
later
because she had
and
gained
stopped
their
beside
trust
the
by being
half-empty
vulnerable
shelves.
and honest,
William
not
followed,
by carefully
repeated,
controlling
or
one's
turned
image,
into another
but by
palace
genuinely
statement.
going through a
That
difficult
promise
situation
mattered,
and emerging
because
from it.
every previous conversation
Charles was
had been
present for
filtered
all of
through
this.
advisors,
Meaning the staff, at the same time,
records,
he was
and
undergoing
official
treatment for
authority
cancer.
once attached to her
Because he
role
was
had
also
been
dealing
removed.
with cancer,
She
he could
no
relate
longer
to what she
spoke
was
as
going
the
through.
center of a
And he
powerful
saw how she
household.
handled it with
She
a
spoke-
poise that
she
he
had
most
defended
likely
people
recognized from
privately,
his own mother.
carried burdens
The
without
same
demanding
ability
praise,
to calm
and
individuals
shown
in the
loyalty,
face of uncertainty
even when
was
it brought
possessed
her
by
no
Queen
advantage.
Elizabeth.
For
Catherine
him,
also has
and
it,
household
and it seems that Charles came to the conclusion that quality is too important to ignore.
For protecting private
What does this really signify going forward? The legal response is still the same. William is going to rule
protecting
as
private
king.
papers,
George is
family
going to follow
arrangements,
him.
property decisions,
For more than a millennium,
and the values
the
attached
line
to
of
the king's
succession
personal
has persisted.
legacy. The
However,
announcement sounded
the
controlled,
line of succession
but
has little bearing on the survival of the monarchy. Relevance is a determining factor. Whether or not individuals believe that the institution is theirs is a determining factor. And Catherine is a symbol of that. She is more than just a prospective queen.
She is currently in charge. She is the one who, in a way that is becoming more and more important, makes the monarchy seem approachable and human. According to reports, a high-ranking government official described this as a crucial and essential modernization of the monarchy.
And the family's
The
most
strength of the
private
monarchy,
future.
according to
Catherine
another
accepted the
political
burden
analyst,
through a written
is its
commitment
capacity to
promising
unite
constitutional
people in times of
stability,
conflict.
protection for private
Catherine is in
decisions
a
he
great
had finally
position
made.
to accomplish that.
The queen
She is
consort
not
accepted the
controversial.
words,
She is
though
not
they could
divisive.
not repair the
She's
trust
simply
already
stable.
lost. Catherine
And
placed
steady
the
is
recovered
exactly what people
William
want in a
inherited
nation that has
steadier
experienced
institution,
political
while the
turmoil,
king left
economic
behind one
instability,
final
and a
requested
pandemic.
Captain Wells for immediate
Charles is aware of
consultation.
this.
Surgeon
He's been
Wright,
king long enough to know that the role involves more than simply constitutional
in secret,
obligations.
Camilla's
The
restraint
idea
broke.
is to be a
She
symbol.
accused him of choosing
Finding
Catherine
someone who can
because the
be that
public
symbol
loved
and
contact.
elevating them
The
is
air
the
felt
greatest
thick,
course of action
charged
if
with
you are unable
unspoken
to be that symbol yourself. This intimate ceremony seems to have achieved that. It had nothing to do with Charles pulling back. It had nothing to do with William being ignored. It was about Charles declaring, yes, this is the one, as he looked at the person his mother would have chosen to lead the monarchy. The fact that this took place without cameras or media attention made it more, not less, significant, since it indicates that Charles was not giving a public performance. He was making a sincere choice on the future of the organization.
Senior
While the queen
royals,
consort
advisors,
lost power
and palace officials
because she
who were
tried to
present
preserve
will
it
all
beyond its
recall it.
rightful limits.
They will be
And when the
aware
final
that Charles acted without hesitation when the issue of leadership arose. He gestured to Catherine.
Charles's
Thus,
reign,
everything makes
but
sense
no
when you
control
consider
over
the full
Catherine's
picture,
preparation.
including the
The
health
monarchy
problem,
emerged
the public
changed,
link,
but not
the
broken.
meticulous planning,
William
and the
slowly
intimate
that
ceremony.
She asked whether
This
anything she
gesture
said
wasn't
could
made at
change his
random.
mind.
It was the
The
result
king did
of
not
years
answer,
of preparation
and his silence
observation.
delivered the verdict.
Charles
After
saw
she left,
Catherine overcome a horrific ordeal and return stronger. He observed how the people reacted to her in a manner not seen in royal history
then noticed
since
the royal
Diana.
seal box beside his
He
chair.
concluded that she
the royal
was the one
seal
who
is the
might bring
official
the
mark
emotional
used to
weight of the
confirm a
monarchy
sovereign's
into the
command.
future.
And its
After seeing
presence
her
told her
assume
the
greater
decision
authority,
had already
get
confirmed
royal
that
warrants,
Catherine
and
had
oversee
repeatedly
military
asked him
operations
not to
involving
escalate the
children in
conflict,
hospitals.
even after
For
learning
any
how
king,
often
the
her
legacy
preparation
question
had been
is
obstructed.
inevitable. What did
She
you
had
construct?
protected the queen
What have you left
consort from
behind?
embarrassment, while
Charles's
his
rule
confession
hasn't been the longest.
exposed a
He's had
painful
health issues that made him consider these issues
ceremony
earlier than
everyone now
anticipated.
blamed. Catherine
However,
agreed
he
to
has
the
also
meeting.
had the
William
discernment to
objected,
understand what is
and the
important.
decision, she admitted,
The legislation
had
may
come
remain
from insecurity
unchanged. The
rather than
succession
duty.
can go on without
Catherine
alteration.
accepted the card
However,
without triumph.
all of that is
When
irrelevant
the two women
if the
left
populace
together,
does not see the value of the monarchy.
The ceremonial uniforms
Catherine
were
also
removed,
inspires
and the
people to
palace
believe.
corridors grew
The
quiet
second
again.
crown
Yet
represented
nobody
that.
believed the
It
day
is a
could
transfer
simply
of
be filed
emotional
away as
authority
Wells'
rather
voice
than
carried
legal authority.
Absolute authority
This
now.
person has
Not
earned the
oppressive,
right to lead.
but immovable.
Not because of birth
Standard
or title,
procedure when a
but because
protected
she's
royal
proven
gives
she
an
can
emergency
carry the
signal.
weight.
I'll
She's
need to
been
interview
tested,
Princess
she
Charlotte,
survived,
something like
she's come
panic
back,
flickered
and the
across her
public
face.
loves her for it.
Genuine fear that
As a
control
result,
was
the
slipping
young
away,
girl at the
that this
hospital wasn't
situation
perplexed
couldn't
when
be
she asked
managed
if
or
Catherine was the
contained or
queen.
smoothed over
When
with
Charles
material
reached for that
tools. At the final
crown,
meeting
she was
of the
plainly
decree
seeing
rested
something
inside
that the
Charles's
constitutional
last
experts
words
in
to the
that
woman
private
he had
room
entrusted
most
with the
likely
crown's
realized for the
future.
first time.
Charles's final
Catherine
letter
is not
carried
holding
no
out for
financial
leadership of the
and
monarchy.
ceremonial
She is
authority
already.
would never be
Charles
restored.
simply made
A
sure
private
that
royal
everyone who
legacy
counts
means the
is aware
personal
of it.
papers, property